What's up, folks? What's going on? Welcome to episode number 42 of the Spun Today podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the podcast. It's going to be a very quick intro because this is an interview podcast, and it was pretty long in and of itself, so I'm just going to make the intro pretty quick. One thing that I do want to mention in the intro is UFC 196. Holy fuck balls. Was that a good show? That was the co-main event. Miesha Tate and Holly Holm was sick. And as well as the main event with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz was awesome. Both unexpected, or at least underdog victories in both those fights. Congratulations to both Miesha Tate, the new champion, and Nate Diaz. I thought in the Holly and Miesha fight, I was going for Holly. I had Holly. I wouldn't be upset if Miesha won. She's a scrappy chick that deserves it. Works really hard. She's been on a 5-fight win streak, if I'm not mistaken. And she's the only one that kind of put it on Ronda a little bit. At least took Ronda Rousey, the previous champion, to the second round before Holly Holm came around and kicked her head off. And she's the shit. She's dope. And but I thought Holly, just with her reach and her striking abilities, was going to be able to keep her at bay and just control the fight that way. I didn't expect it to end before the fifth round. I thought it was just going to go to a unanimous or split decision in Holly's favor. But Miesha Tate is a scrappy chick, man. Hats off to her. She stuck in it. She stayed in the fight and choked Holly out unconscious. And up until that point, I think Holly pretty much dominated, or at least edged her out in all of the previous rounds. But Miesha came away with the W. And definitely looking forward to UFC 200, which they've already announced. Miesha Tate and Holly Holm, Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey, and as having their third rematch. And Ronda's probably happy as fuck because to her it's probably going to be an easy win, but Miesha is obviously going to have a new level of motivation under her, and I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. Hats off to Holly also for not tapping, which, not that it makes you any better or worse if you tap like Conor did, but she's just like a ballsy chick. And she said in one of the post-fight interviews that she wasn't thinking about not tapping or tapping at all. The way she was visualizing that moment, or in the moment, she got out of a rear naked choke that Miesha had on her in the second round, and she was just trying to get out of it. And next thing she knew, she woke up beltless and not knowing what the fuck happened. But super entertaining, especially the way it ended. And then the main event, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz. Most people wrote off Nate Diaz as, taking the fight on 10 days notice, and definitely not going to be able to stop the freight train of backing that is the Conor McGregor hype. But he stunned everybody pretty much. And in true Nate Diaz form, just took punches, completely brawled. And when I saw it was just like crazy to see. Nate Diaz, he's going to eat punches. That's what he's done his entire career. There's no reason to think otherwise, especially with technically a smaller fighter moving up in weight, who's known for his power, but his power is known in 2 weight classes less than where they were fighting at 170. Conor normally fights at 145, and so there was definitely no reason to think that Nate was going to do anything other than what he normally does, which is just eat fights and box with you. And his boxing skills have always been like one of the top in the UFC. And it was sick. Once he caught Conor and like wobbled him. I think it was like a straight left or a straight right. And it was like, oh fuck, it's on. Because Nate is the type that he gets better as the rounds go on, and as he takes punches, and I don't know, that shit fuels him or something. And it was crazy. Then when he knocked him down and went to the ground, it was like 100% done. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu. You know, he's gonna choke him out. Conor, that's his weakness. And he avoids going to the ground at all costs. We saw what Chad Mendes did to him. Pretty much manhandled him when he took him to the ground for a while. And Nate Diaz is just a beast on the ground. So that was definitely an entertaining fight. And the cherry on top at the end was, of course, Nate Diaz just saying with the post-fight Joe Rogan interview, just when Joe asked him how he felt, and him just saying, "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers," because of everybody that doubted him and shit. And it was definitely dope, entertaining fights. So that's all I had to say about that. And if you guys see, the title of this episode is Multiple Sclerosis. This is an episode that I put together with my beautiful fiancée, who was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 6 years ago almost. And we wanted to put this out to help spread awareness. And we're doing it now because March is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And in the episode, we get into what exactly it is. And there's actually links in the episode notes that you guys can check out for the National MS Society, where you can, check out additional information on it, studies, cutting edge treatments. You can donate. You can donate directly or become a part of like Bike MS or Walk MS and like stuff like that, which obviously would be helpful for the cause. And I also linked a video that I played. It's like a 2-minute ASAP science video that I like, that breaks down exactly what multiple sclerosis is and how it affects someone. And I actually played it like early on in the episode, so you guys are gonna listen to it anyway. But if you want to, actually see the video, because it has some visuals and stuff to help explain it, the link for that is in the episode notes. And that's pretty much it. Without further ado, here is the episode. All right, we're recording. All right, so Zoila Rosa, my fiance, as I mentioned in the intro that I haven't recorded yet, but it will after this, is here to pretty much share and her experience with having MS, which is multiple sclerosis, in what's the word I'm looking for, in observance, not observance, but March is technically MS Awareness Month. In awareness, that's what I was looking for. So we figured we would just have this conversation to
make people aware.
Yeah, to do our part in spreading awareness to the 3 people that listen to the podcast, which is Zoila herself, Raul, and my brother.
Yeah, but I could hear myself.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing.
Hold the microphone close to your mouth when you talk. Test it. Say something.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you come in really low. So you have to like speak with it like really close. But yeah, because I remember one of the things that you told me was that when you got diagnosed, which like we'll get into all that, like you stumbled upon videos or actually after you were diagnosed, when you found out about like that test pill, right? It was like a video that you stumbled upon on YouTube or something like that.
No.
That the girl told you about, wasn't it?
No.
Okay, so.
Do you want me to tell you the whole story?
Yeah.
No, I Googled it. I Googled what MS was, so I look up a whole bunch of videos on YouTube and
Yeah.
never to do that because you get really creeped out and
Yeah. Like start like self-diagnosing and like shit like that.
You know, there's always people that are worse than you and or are better than you. You never know. It's different cases for everybody.
Yeah. Which is always the case with everything, I think, but I see your point specific to this. So all right. Let's go back. You got diagnosed about 5 years ago?
2010, 2011.
Yeah, around there. Because, like, we're right around the time we started going out. A couple months after. And...
What a gift.
So how was that? Well, first, all right, there's a video that everybody that doesn't know what MS is should check out, and I have it linked in the episode notes. You guys can check it out, and I'll probably insert it right here.
This month, many countries around the world will be spreading awareness on multiple sclerosis, or MS, a disease that affects millions of people worldwide. But what exactly is multiple sclerosis? MS primarily affects the central nervous system, which consists of the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerve. Just about everything you do depends on this system functioning properly, from breathing to moving and even watching YouTube videos. And these actions are all facilitated by neurons throughout your body, cells which we've talked about many times in our previous videos. These neurons are able to send signals all throughout the body at incredible speeds, in part because of the fatty coating that surrounds them, something called myelin or the myelin sheath. This myelin insulates the impulses and allows the nerve signals to reach their destination. However, in the case of MS, this is where the issues occur. The immune system is designed to fight off disease from viruses, bacteria, parasites, or other agents, and does so by distinguishing these things from healthy tissue. But in the case of MS, the immune system ends up attacking the myelin in what is classified as an autoimmune disorder. This process of demyelination can lead to a buildup of scar tissue, hence the word sclerosis. The CNS then becomes unable to send and receive signals properly. Messages traveling along the neurons may be slowed down, distorted, or stopped altogether. Because of the varying locations and nature of demyelination, the symptoms of MS are incredibly diverse. They can range from muscle weakness to decreased coordination, fatigue, vision problems, numbness, or even paralysis, though an MRI scan of the brain to look for lesions or scarring is integral to diagnosis. For some, the symptoms come as acute episodes, while others experience more chronic and permanent symptoms which worsen over time. At this point, no true cause or cure is known. While potential links to environmental factors, viral infections, and genetics have been found, studies are ongoing and not yet conclusive. And while there has been a lot of work towards not only alleviating some of the symptoms but slowing their progression, sadly, these treatments do not work for all MS sufferers. Ultimately, bringing light to this issue in an effort to support and fund research is an incredibly important step to erasing MS. And though many of us will never truly understand the challenges of living with MS, we can work together to raise awareness. We would be so grateful if you could take a moment and pass this video on to your family and friends and join in the effort to end MS.
Which explains what MS is.
Which explains what MS is, exactly.
Because I honestly don't even know myself that much. And I've been with MS for about 5 years.
And pretty much like my understanding of it, and again, guys, check out the video, which I just played in the middle of the podcast, so you didn't really have a choice. But pretty much we all have an immune system, obviously, which fights off viruses and diseases. And MS is known as an autoimmune disease because of the fact that your own immune system attacks your body. And the way specifically that it does it is that we all have something called a myelin sheath, which wraps around the neurons in our central nerves, right? Pretty much the nerves in our central nervous system, which is the brain, spinal cord, and spinal cord, and something else makes up the central nervous system. I forgot what the other part is, but brain and spinal cord pretty much. And the neurons in there, or all neurons, have a protective tissue around it called the myelin sheath. And the neurons are pretty much like electrical impulses that your body uses to communicate with itself. And, you know, if you want to move your arm, there's a electrical impulse that goes off in your brain that alerts your arm to move or whatever, right? and those impulses happen between the neurons and axons and dendrites and like shit like that, which is all part of a neuron. And the myelin sheath is like a protective layer or an insulation that allows those impulses to and those messages to get delivered. So when you have MS, your immune system mistakes the myelin sheath as a disease or as a virus. So it attacks it like it does with, like, when you have a cold or something, your immune system attacks the cold. Mm-hmm. So your immune system attacks the myelin sheath, and that it fucks up the insulation of the nerves, and that creates a scar tissue when it's like healing itself. And that scar tissue, in turn, now the messages and impulses that your neurons are trying to send through each other, because it has like gaps and it's the myelin sheath is fucked up, the insulation is fucked up, so the message is not like going through as clearly as it should. That's where the symptoms of MS come from, which, being that it's part of your central nervous system, which is your entire brain and your spinal cord, depending on where your immune system attacks and the different areas of your brain, then translate into different types of symptoms. That's why symptoms for one person with MS could be completely different from symptoms of another person with MS. And you could tell us a little bit about your symptoms.
Good job, babe. I didn't even know that much. But, well, I started feeling like really weird. You know, when you're not all there. So I started thinking more than normal. Like when I was going down the stairs, and I used to feel numb.
Like thinking twice about it, right? Like when you were going down?
Like, oh, I have to go down a stair. And just finding the way to get down a stair. Like you.
And normally it's stuff that you don't even think about.
Yeah, you don't think about it. You just do it. But I felt like unbalanced. And
that's a big symptom that's common with people with MS is loss of balance.
And I couldn't wear high heels anymore. Like, I used to feel pain in my ankles. So I couldn't, handle heels. I used to fall. It was little things. And I used to feel numb everywhere. Like, first, I used to feel numb, like, in my thumb. Like, at the edge of my thumb. And that's it. Like, in my right hand. And I used to feel, like, so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Like when you sleep on your hand kind of thing? Like that feeling that it feels like really fat?
The edge of your thumb. And that's it.
That's weird.
And I used to feel like cold, like really cold.
Like how often would you feel that? Like every day you would have that feeling?
Non-stop.
Or? Okay.
It used to be non-stop, and then like it used to go away. Like all of a sudden it used to leave, and then I used to feel like different symptoms.
But then, like, let's say one time when you had the numbness, and you had it for a certain amount of time, then it would go away for like how long? Like a day, a week, or just random?
Well, like I had a period of time that I was feeling like all the symptoms. Like they used to vary.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what I was feeling, so I didn't really.
You would just dismiss
attention.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just to be like, oh, it went away, so fine. Like I didn't really know how long it lasted. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what else I used to feel?
I know fatigue is a common
tired. It was like horribly exhausted. Like I couldn't walk. Like I used to fall going down the stairs. I lived in the 3rd floor, and like going down the stairs and carrying grocery bags, like that was like climbing the Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, how am I gonna do this? And like thinking things through too much.
Yeah.
Like when I never used to do that, it's like, what's going on with me? Like,
I vaguely remember, like in the beginning, like stuff like that, like you walking and
going down the stairs, because there's stairs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and now I noticed. Now stairs were like my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
And then I saw, what was it? I saw a video of another chick with MS that was like, that the fatigue is like, she was trying to like compare it to certain things. She said the balance is like if you're drunk and you're like off balance, but you try to like play it off like you're not drunk and like you're not off balance. That was like the balancing that she felt. That's what she could compare it to. And the fatigue, I think she compared it to like being at the gym and like running on a treadmill and lifting weights, and then even if you lift up afterwards, like after you're done with the gym but you're tired and exhausted, you lift up like a feather, but that feather feels like so heavy because you're like so tired from like lifting other stuff that you can't even lift anything else. Like that's how the fatigue felt
like
for her,
like you're gonna collapse
all the
right
time
there.
Yeah,
Like from lifting nothing.
and like no
Just by
matter
walking.
how much you sleep and stuff like that, like it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
Okay.
Never. And there's like so many things together that make it worse. Like that all you want to do is sit down. Nah. Because you get numb after a while. You get numb everywhere. Like your legs, they're always numb. Like 24 hours a day.
It's like your whole leg? Like from your thigh to your...
Everything. Plus, like when I used to walk, like I'm talking about walking, which is like 3 steps. Like I used to feel like my stomach used to get hard. It's weird.
And not like 6-pack hard.
No. Like full of air.
Okay. Like bloated.
And feeling the numbness in the legs. And then like I used to get so tired that like after a certain amount of walking, I used to feel like my ankles used to like go inwards. I don't know. It was weird. And like you have to sit down. I had to sit down. I don't know if it was in the floor or whatever. But I just had to stop walking.
That reminds me, remember when
I used to collapse.
Remember
if I didn't.
when we went to the Museum of Natural History or whatever? That was like our 3rd date.
Yeah.
That you got really tired.
And it was so hot in there.
Yeah.
Because
that
the
didn't help.
heat, it makes it exacerbate. It makes it worse.
Like flares it up and shit.
Yeah.
And
But I didn't know what I had then.
yeah.
So I was like so exhausted. So tired. And Tony's looking at me like, what the hell? This chick is mad lazy.
Because she wanted to sit down in like every
spot,
every room that we went to.
Everywhere.
Like she would sit like under the exhibit, and I'm like looking around like, yo, this isn't even a seat, and there's like a rope there. Like the fuck is wrong with this
But
chick?
I didn't care because I thought that I was gonna collapse if I didn't sit down.
And at that point, you weren't even diagnosed yet. And then I remember the
I
biggest.
didn't even know I was sick.
And then
something was weird, but I didn't know what was going on.
And that's something that everybody should take away from this conversation. Like little weird shit that you feel. Like especially even myself. Like I dismiss stuff like all the time. It's good to always like go to the doctor and like check it out. And it's not good just to rely on like Google and stuff.
Never do that. Never.
And I wouldn't say never, but I would say never just Google something and be like and think that that's it, that's your answer, whether it's a positive or a negative. But it's so accessible that it's like at least it gives you some sort of direction, as long as you take that information to a doctor.
In the beginning, like with my symptoms, and it's that restless leg syndrome.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. And then what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Then when we were leaving, you were like, oh, the car was parked. I remember like 3 blocks away.
No. I was so exhausted. I just needed to sit like for 10 minutes without being judged by Tony. So I went into the bathroom. Like the girl, I don't even know how I got in there because I was so tired that I couldn't even move 2 steps. So I went into the bathroom and I sat in the toilet for like 5 minutes.
I don't remember
just to get strength to get up, to get out of the bathroom,
to walk outside. Yeah.
To walk out of the bathroom, and then I was tired again. It's like non-stop. It's a non-stop cycle.
Yeah.
Like you're just thinking about the next step. Okay, how am I gonna get there?
That sucks, yo.
Yeah, it was hard.
And then at that point, like not knowing, I remember we get outside and then you would tell me like, no, you go get the car and come get me. And
The car was like parked really far.
yeah, it was probably like 3 to 5 blocks or something like that in the
When I
city.
used to sit down, I used to get like enough energy to walk a little bit more, but I had to sit down first. It's
Yeah.
like,
And then, but meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, yo, this lazy bitch, yo. Are you seriously sitting the whole fucking time throughout the whole fucking thing? And now she's telling me with myself, what the fuck kind of chick is this? I'm definitely not seeing her again and blah, blah,
and
blah.
outside, like there was no place to sit, and it was like Woodhaven, the street, and you were on the other side.
As wide as Woodhaven, but it was in the city.
Yeah. So imagine you're exhausted. You feel like you're gonna collapse. There's
Mhm.
no place to sit. And I have to go across the street
A long ass street,
and
yeah.
with a million cars. And how am I gonna walk? What if I collapse in the middle of the street? Like
Yeah.
that's how exhausted you feel. Like you feel like you're gonna collapse if you give one more step.
I remember then when you got in the car, you like knocked out.
I was so
You fell
exhausted
asleep.
just of thinking of how to get over there across the street. And you know, all these things and you don't know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Like,
you must have been thinking like
you
so much
feel
shit.
weird. Like, oh my god, what is going on? And like I remember one time I was like showering and I put my feet into the water and it started jumping like crazy, like my foot,
Mm-hmm.
because it was cold, the water. And I'm like, yo, what the what the hell is this? Like, what's going on? Like, it's like weird things, little
Yeah.
symptoms that you don't realize is all a common thing.
That it's all like related.
It's all related.
But you don't know. Yeah. It makes sense because your foot jumping, you being tired, your
Mm-hmm.
thumb being numb is like, you don't see a connection, especially without knowing what the fuck MS is.
Yeah.
Or how it works and like stuff like that. And then let me see, another symptom of it is bladder control, which I know
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to pee all the fucking time.
But now I do it like I'm paranoid now. Before I used to have to really go like drinking water right now and then having to go like 5 seconds later
Yeah.
because I can't. Well, I couldn't hold it that much. Now I could control it more, but I still have that urgency to pee.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah, you
can't
definitely
hold
got
it
way
that
better with that.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember before it was like, I gotta go. And it's like
Yeah.
running to the bathroom. What else? All right, so
Memory alarm.
what was I gonna say? All right, and then
the memory. It's one of those things too.
oh yeah, memory's not that great sometimes.
My memory sucks. Well, it used
I
to
don't
be
think it
like
sucks.
bad, but it was because it was naturally bad, not because of MS. I don't think. But like, there's little things that I forgot that I shouldn't forget.
Like what? Can you think of an example?
Like if I have to do something, you know, something important, maybe I totally forgot. Like now, I'm not that bad.
You ever forget my name?
No. Jeez. But little things, like I might forget. Like let's say I had a friend in college for 4 years. Like I know that person's name. Like really? You telling me I don't
Yeah, you just
remember
can't think
that
of it.
person's name? I've known that person for 4 years. Like, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, I have to rack my brain.
I forget shit like that all the time. You just
But
need
it's
a.
like, no, but when you hang out with a person every day, like really, you're gonna forget that person's name? Like, it's like
I know
the
what you-
weird
okay.
things like that.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not normal. But I don't know, maybe things I forgot to mention.
And now, let's see. What else? Any other symptoms that you could think of? There's the only one.
Well, then I started getting really bad. Like this is all before I went to the doctor
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he told me what was going on, whatever. I used to sit down, and then when I got up, I used to get this spasm in my face. Like it felt like I couldn't move. I had to wait a second. Like you
In
know
your
when you get
face? What do you
brain
mean? Like twitching?
No, it was like my brain used to freeze for a few seconds. It was horrible and it was so painful.
Yeah. Like brain freeze, it would feel like?
Like brain freeze, yeah. You see when you get like brain freeze that you you can't move like for
Yeah,
a second.
okay. Like your face, you can't. You're like ah.
And my eyebrows used to like go up like that, and I used to
Like a Puerto Rican.
like that, like freeze. It was so scary, and it used to happen every time that I was getting really bad. It used to happen every time I used to get up after being like sitting down for a minute, and I used to get up, and I had to like wait a few seconds, and I used to get the spasm. And then my dad saw it once. He's like,
"This is what you were in DR then."
"No,
Okay.
no, I was here already."
He was here like visiting and shit.
No, I already had moved here, but I have recently moved. Like I had a month here, and my dad was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, I couldn't even speak. Like I had to wait until it was over. That's how bad it was.
Fuck. And like, how many times did that happen?
Like it happened for a week or so, and after that, after I used to get that, I knew I had to go to the doctor ASAP.
Yeah.
Because all of the symptoms were freaking me out and weird.
Yeah, it was like too many things happening that you were like, what the fuck?
And my dad noticed, so, it's not like it's me
Yeah.
thinking about it. So then after that, I didn't have health insurance because I just came from DR.
Fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. I was an immigrant. So I didn't have any health insurance. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to go to the emergency room last 10 hours for them to tell me nothing. So thank God that my sister told the lady from HR, from her job, and she looked up like free clinics.
Okay.
From churches and stuff. And I was like, okay. So they used to give it like once a week. So that was like maybe a Monday or so, and it was on Wednesdays only. So I had to wait until Wednesday on that week, and I was like so happy that it was free.
Hold on, mic close.
I was happy that it was free, and that I could see somebody.
Yeah. And what they tell you?
So
it was just like a regular general doctor, not a neurologist.
There were several doctors there. And they asked you if you have any health insurance or whatever, and I told them no. And they asked you like a brief history of what's going on. Well, the nurses sees you first. And then I went to see a doctor, and I told them all the symptoms. I was like, I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I can't feel my thumb, like the edge of my thumb. And I told them all my symptoms. And when I walk, I feel really tired. And my belly feels really hard when I get exhausted and I walk a certain amount. And he did like this test that now I'm very familiar with it. It's like I do it in the neurologist all the time. And he took like a pen and he like scraped the bottom of my foot and it jumped like crazy. Yeah. And then he like pulled it.
Like spasm.
Right? Yeah. It was like going crazy. And he was like, well, I think you need a MRI because I think you have inflammation in your brain. I was like, okay, inflammation in my brain. I don't understand what that means, but it doesn't sound that bad. I don't know why
that sounds horrible to me.
But like I was thinking other things.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, inflammation in my brain. I don't understand.
It doesn't sound like a crazy disease that you had heard of or something. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So when I was leaving the place, the girl asked me, do they have a diagnosis for you? And then she asked the girl next to her, I think she was a nurse or something, like, what does this diagnosis mean? Because she was like she was just like a secretary, like writing everything down. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, that's for MS. And when I heard that, I was like, what? The only time I've ever heard MS was like Montel Williams.
You serious?
He had MS. That's the only like relationship I had with MS. Like that's the only time I've heard it, and I've heard like not good things
I never even heard of it before.
Too. So that's the only time, and at least I knew something, like, what it was or whatever. So when I went home, I was devastated when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? Now I need to get an MRI.
To see if it really is that.
To see if it's really that. And then I started Googling everything. I saw people like with spines curved like an S.
Yeah.
I saw people in wheelchairs. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. Like, really?
That has to be scary.
It was horrifying. But, and then I called you and I was like, we don't need to be together anymore. Because I think I have a mess. If you don't want to be with me, that's okay.
I made the right choice.
And you were so sweet, babe. You're like, no, we got to find out what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, at that point...
We were like starting, so it's not...
Yeah. But I felt like at that point, what I based the decision on was if it wasn't because of the MS, like everything else stays the same minus the MS, would I stop seeing this girl? And the answer was no. So then I couldn't stop just because of that. Something that wasn't your fault, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
thanks.
like, fuck it. That's the right choice. All right, so then you get your MRI.
Then I got the MRI. First, I had to get like insurance and stuff because the MRI wasn't gonna be free.
Mm-hmm.
So that took like a couple weeks. They got it for me fast because I did say that it was urgent and that I had inflammation in my brain and I needed an MRI ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
So they got it for me fast, I gotta say.
And it was the Mass Health, right?
Mass Health, yeah. Massachusetts.
See, it was the Obamacare before it was Obamacare. It was Romney Care in fucking Massachusetts.
Medicaid for
same shit.
Massachusetts. It was awesome.
It was Romney. Romney used to talk so much shit about it.
And I got the MRI. And then I went to see a doctor to read the MRI. And she did say that it did look like it was MS. And when I heard that, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Like, how can I stop this? Like, really, I can't stop it.
No.
And I told my dad. And then they made an appointment for me. They told me I had to see a neurologist right away. Oh, that's another symptom. Like, blurry or whatever.
Slur speech. The girl in the video I was just talking about said the same thing, that it's like slur speech, like when you're drunk also. Mm-hmm. Like when you're speaking.
It has a lot of symptoms of being drunk.
Yeah.
But you're not drunk at all.
Yeah.
But everybody looks at you weird because you're unbalanced and you talk weird and you're tired. Just like a drunk.
I never.
It's just serious.
I never noticed you slur your speech though, to be honest.
Like sometimes I do it, but not. No, I don't do a lot of things now.
Because of the medication.
I'm taking
but
medication.
We'll get there.
Really helpful, but
because I want to go through like the first medication and all that, but.
And I had to wait the longest time to see the neurologist for the first time.
Like a few weeks?
I had to wait like
a couple months?
A month and a half.
Damn.
Which was a long time because I was feeling yucky and.
Yeah, and at that point you just had a diagnosis. You don't have any medicine. You don't have anything. Medicine,
and they said that I needed another MRI because I had one of the brain, and there was lesions in my brain, which I didn't understand what the hell.
Which lesions are the scar tissue that happens from what we just spoke about, the Myelin Sheath.
In my brain. But I needed one of my spine, and they told me if I wanted to get a spinal tap, but I did read that it was painful
risky
and very harsh. That you feel really bad.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to go through that. I just wanted to start taking medication. I dealt with having MS. It's like, okay, so what's the next step?
Yeah.
So then I saw the neurologist, and he said, so what are the symptoms that you're feeling? And I told them everything, and And I told them, oh, and they told me that I have MS. And he was like, no, don't tell me that. I want you to tell me your symptoms so I could make the decision.
Yeah, that's a good doctor.
If you have MS or not. Because they're not, you know.
Neurologist. That's not their specialty.
Neurologist, so they don't know.
They could ballpark it, but it's not necessarily that.
Yeah. I mean, it might be that.
Yeah.
It was that, but
he would be a bad doctor if he was just like, okay, you have MS, so here, take this MS pill.
Yeah. So after that, I went for a second opinion. He did say that he saw lesions in my brain, and it did seem like it was MS, and that I had to start taking Copaxone, which is the injection
on a daily basis.
Daily.
Like insulin type shit.
Yeah.
He put you on that right away?
Yeah. And he sent a nurse. Like, well, you know, whatever the regimen is, they send a nurse to teach you how to inject yourself.
And where'd you have to inject yourself? Your arm?
I had an auto injector. You just place like the numbers of how deep the needle has to go. Mm-hmm. I had instructions.
Yeah.
I like rotated the places throughout the week. Like one day I used to do it in my thighs. Another day I used to do it in my hips, like where the fatty area is. Another day in my arms, in the back of my arms where the fat is.
So
or in my stomach. In the front of my stomach.
I remember that, yeah.
Wherever the fat.
And it was every single day?
Every day.
You had to take it?
Every day, at the same time.
And then, well, did he diagnose the type of MS at this point yet?
Yeah, he did. Because he said that it was relapsing, remitting MS.
Versus...
Which is the first type one.
If you have MS, that's the best case scenario MS that you can have. And then versus progressive MS, which is...
It's like the worst.
Those are more like symptoms that it just gets worse and worse. And eventually you could be paralyzed and like those types of situations and die from it. Like, was it Richard Pryor had MS?
I don't know what MS, which one he had.
Yeah, me neither. But
I know he had, and he died of symptoms.
Oh, you know what? You know who had MS too? The attorney for Adnan Syed from Serial.
Yeah.
The Serial podcast. She had MS.
Too?
She had MS and something else, and she died. Christina Gutierrez. And who? Yeah.
I got it.
All right, so I had to go take a piss. Speaking of bladder control.
Sorry.
Who else? We're talking about famous people with MS. Jack Osbourne.
Jack Osbourne, yeah.
Osbourne, whatever. He went blind from one eye because the MS like attacked his
eyesight.
Yeah.
Yeah, his left eye or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
I
haven't felt like those type of symptoms. I do get like really blurry vision sometimes when I'm tired, but I guess that's a normal thing when you work with computers.
Yeah. All right, so you had the relapsing remitting MS, and then at this point you got a second opinion.
I got a second opinion, and he did say that it was the same thing. And he looked at my MRIs and all that.
And there was another neurologist.
He was crazy. He looked crazy though.
Yeah.
Neurologist. But I took his word. Like he seemed professional. And, so I got my second opinion. I started taking the medication,
which is Copaxone.
Copaxone. It was so scary. Like I felt sick.
Yeah, because you have to inject yourself.
I have to inject myself every day. I was feeling so symptomatic. Like I couldn't stand up. I couldn't take a shower. Like taking a shower was painful. Shaving my legs. Like I used to feel like I was like there was needles, like little ants crawling up my skin when I used to shave.
Fuck. Like because of the razor or
because of the numbness.
Okay.
So when you touch your legs and you're numb, you're like,
yeah,
it hurts. I was still having that spasm every time I got up. I was falling everywhere.
Like falling how? Like you walk to the kitchen, you just collapse face first on the floor?
Not so severe like that, but I used to collapse pretty much.
Damn.
Going down the stairs, it was the same way.
Like how often would you fall?
After a while, like I didn't go anywhere, so not that much. But in the beginning, I used to fall a lot. Like going down the stairs, I used to collapse.
Damn. Did you ever like hurt yourself?
No, because it was carpet. The stairs.
It was just like fall and you grab yourself type of thing, or okay, it wasn't like tumbling, rolling down the stairs.
No, I used to hold on.
Like I'm thinking the old lady from Scary Movie when they run up the stairs and she throws a piano and then she runs up and grandma and she throws the grandma.
No,
not like that.
Not like that. Not so weird.
All right. So then you taking Copaxone. I remember you took that shit for a while.
I took it for a year.
More than a year, I think. No,
a year. Because I asked the doctor, yo, like, this is not making me feel better. I feel shitty every day. Like, when is this gonna work?
Because the point of the medication, if I remember correctly, was so it could keep symptoms at bay, so you don't feel the symptoms as
it's supposed
often.
to, like, reduce lesions from your brain.
Yeah.
Then it's
Which would in
supposed
turn,
yeah, fix all the symptoms, but it takes a long time.
to actually work.
Really long time. He told me it took about a year for me to even start feeling anything, and I was taking it for a year and I didn't feel anything. Well, I stopped having the spasms, so that stopped.
Like the shit in your face, like your brain.
The spasm in my brain, yeah. Like that was like really bad, so it stopped. I was getting used to the routine, like every day, injecting myself. And then I just got over it, and I used to do it and try to forget about it.
Yeah.
Try to do things.
Did they recommend like anything else besides the medication, like a certain diet or exercise?
Yeah,
or?
I had to like try to eat healthy, and which I didn't do, and exercise. Try to like do certain exercises that I could do because I couldn't really run.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk. But try like to lift my legs and certain heights and stretch. But like I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
Hard to even get up in the morning. It was hard because like as soon as you get up, you feel all the like the numbness, which I think is besides the walking, because walking gives you freedom to do anything, like to go anywhere and whatever, which that was like the main symptom that I missed. Being able to walk anywhere was like, and feeling independent, because every time I used to go anywhere, I used to have to hang on to somebody.
Yeah. I remember
so
that,
so I wouldn't
like
have
your
to
sisters
collapse.
and me and
to anybody who was with me, I used to hang on to them to not collapse or fall, whatever.
So besides that, the numbness was like the worst one,
because it was nonstop. Like it's not like it went away.
Yeah.
I used to feel huge, like really big.
Does it feel? Is it like the same type of numbness like when you know, like sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night because I sleep on my arm and I'm like freaked out because I can't feel my arm.
You know when you go to the dentist and you get like that
Novocaine.
That you feel like your lips are huge.
Yeah.
Like that.
Damn.
And like when you push it, you don't feel anything, but it hurts. Like if you
do it hard enough. Yeah.
You feel like pinching.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
Shit.
That's how it feels. But it's more painful than Novocaine in your mouth.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then so then from Copaxone you found Gilenya, and I think that's how you found it, like on a video or some chick online told you about the test study thing for Gilenya.
I don't recall how exactly it happened, but I did So I saw this girl.
It was the chick that draws, right? And has a podcast or something. What's her name?
JP Metz.
Okay. METZ or something like that, I think.
TZ, yeah. JP MET.
She has like a YouTube channel online. You guys can check it out.
She has MS herself, and she did a video. It was so funny. Like, I wish I could find it again.
Yeah.
Like, explaining what MS was. And I found it so hilarious. So I wrote back to her, and I was like, oh, it was... like, I have MS myself, and thank you for making me laugh, because that was really cool, and explaining what it was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So she wrote back, and I was so happy that she wrote back. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, she was famous.
You feel like a famous... Yeah, exactly.
She said...
That's how people feel when I write them.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you feel the same way, whatever, like, good, whatever. But she was, like, so funny. Because she made it seem like, if you want to accept it, you accept it. If you don't, then go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It was funny. So after a while, like, I just, I don't even know what brought the conversation, but she told me that she was taking this medication that wasn't approved, FDA approved, but she was on a trial. I think I asked her what she was taking, because she had the same MS as I was.
Remitting, relapsing.
Yeah, relapsing, remitting.
There you go.
And she told me she was taking an injection before, but she didn't have any health insurance, so she was paying it out herself or whatever. Which I found like really crazy because it's so expensive.
Yeah. And
then she told me, I don't know how she told me, I don't remember, but she told me about this trial that she was on, and she was like, I'm taking an oral medication. And when I heard oral medication, because there was no oral medication, there was only injections that you had to do every day. That was the only medication that you could take.
Damn.
So I had no choice.
That was the only thing that was FDA approved.
FDA approved. And she said, I'm taking an oral medication, and I think it's going to be approved by next year. And I'm talking to her like in October. She said maybe by next year, February. And I'm like...
Was she saying that it was good? Or
she said it was amazing. Like, she took it for 2 weeks, and she already started feeling better. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I need. I need that. How can I get that? And she was like, well, it's going to be approved, so just tell your neurologist. Like, that conversation happened, and that conversation changed everything.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know what she did. Well, I told her afterwards. Yeah. I did thank her and everything, but, like, she doesn't actually know how much she changed my life right there with just that conversation, that little conversation.
That's awesome.
That she had.
Well, maybe she'll hear this and she'll know, because everybody listens to this podcast.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure you will. But a shout out to JP Metz.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Thanks.
Definitely.
Yeah. So after I spoke to her, I was really pumped, and I had an appointment with my neurologist, and I told him. After I found out that the oral medication was actually approved, I don't know how I found out, but I think I was like looking into it like every day.
But didn't you do it while it was still on trial? You did. Because you got on a trial. Remember, they used to pay you for the trial or some shit.
Yeah. But I think it was approved already. It just needed to be on trial or something.
It was because FDA approval goes in stages. So it's probably like approved in stage 2 or something. Yeah. And it had to go to the last phase of approval.
But it wasn't still in trial and error or whatever they call it.
Like, it wasn't out for like mass distribution.
No, it was still in trials.
Okay.
So I told my neurologist about it. And he did say, oh, we're going to start a new trial with the pill. We're going to let you know when that happens and when we start it. And I'm like, so really? Like,
he knew about it and everything.
Was working out.
Nice.
Like, I could be able to take it or whatever in this trial. I didn't know what the terms were with the trial, but All I heard was that I was going to be able to take an oral medication and not have to inject
Which
myself.
was just like one pill a day type of
One
thing.
pill a day. And since I heard good things about it
Yeah.
from JP Meds.
And I would imagine, like at that point, you're taking an injection, which is uncomfortable and inconvenient to begin with, and then doing it for a year and not feeling barely anything different.
Mm-hmm.
So any other option must sound good, especially if you're hearing good things about it.
Yeah. So I was crazy, like, excited. I didn't hear anything, like, in a couple months, I believe. I don't remember, but because I forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I just used to inject myself and whatever. Then he called me, and he told my neurologist, he called me, and he told me, "Oh, we're gonna start a new trial. Do you want to be a part of it?" I was like, "Really? You're asking me? Like, just put me in that shit
Yeah.
like right now. Like, what do you want me to do?" He's like, "We're gonna start it in a week.
Nice.
You have to come in. It does have its terms. You know, you have to come in."
It was a double-blind placebo study. Some people were going to get the pill and some people were not.
Some people were going to get the pill and some people were going to get screwed and keep on taking the freaking injection.
Yeah.
It worked like we had to call a number and it was going to randomly pick if you were going to take the injection or be on the pill. And I was like, oh fuck. It was going to be for 3 months. If you had the injection, you were going to have to be on the injection for 3 months. But after those 3 months, then they were going to give you the pill. So you could still try the pill, but you had to be in the,
In the study. The control study.
Way.
Yeah.
And if
So
you
they
got
could
the
compare the
pill, you would get it for 3 months for free and then continue taking it. They had to monitor you if you got the pill. They had to monitor you for 6 hours, giving you EKGs and taking your pressure or whatever. I don't know. They used to do a lot of things.
6 hours what? Just one time 6 hours or every week?
If
6
you were approved. No, just one time.
Okay.
Just you used to take it once. I remember. Okay, so then they called the phone number, and I was waiting, and I was like, oh my god. And the nurse, she looked at me and she gave me the thumbs up, and I was like, oh my god, you don't know how much I prayed. I was like, oh my god, please. If I get the injection, I'm gonna die. Like,
damn.
I need to take this. Like, it was like my only hope of something, of a change. And when she gave me the thumbs up and she was like smiling, the nurse was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
She was so nice. I'm still friends with her on Facebook. She, I told her that I'm doing really well and all that.
Nice.
So I took the pill for that day. I had to stay there for 6 hours and they monitored me or whatever. And I was feeling fine. I couldn't take the injection anymore, which, hallelujah, I didn't want to do that anyways. So I just put it away and I started taking the medication. And this medication was awesome. Like,
how long did it take? After you took the first pill?
After I took the first pill, I want to say the first pill, but no, that's not realistic. After a week.
So after 7 pills.
After a week, I stopped feeling a lot of numbness. I was still feeling the numbness, but not as severe. I was noticing that I had like a little more energy. Like, the symptoms were there, but I don't know if it was the,
La emoción of like just taking the pill.
Taking a pill that worked.
I'm sure that has something to do with it, but obviously we've seen now the results of.
Yeah. And like little by little, I used to feel better. And then I had to go like every 3 months. Like the first time I had to go every
week
to check if I was doing okay.
To monitor you and
to monitor me. They used to pay me like $50 every time I used to go.
Yeah, I remember that.
I used to go for an hour. They used to do the neurologist test or whatever. And I used to feel like the spasms used to go, like they were still there, but they used to go down. I was able to like hit my nose and the doctor's thumb, like finger. Like I used to do that.
Like point, like touch the doctor's nose with your finger.
And then touch the finger.
Oh, and then touch the doctor's finger.
Type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I couldn't do that before.
Damn.
I used to be like, I don't know how that works, but I couldn't do it.
That's to do with like balance and shit.
Yeah.
So they tested, I guess.
He did it did like the drunken.
Yeah, the DUI.
Like, if they ever
the DUI
stop
test.
me, if they ever stop me, they're gonna think I'm drunk or something.
Yeah.
If I'm this bad. But I felt great after a week of taking it. I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
After waiting a year for this thing to freaking work or do something that I could notice. And then after a week of taking a pill, feeling different, and feeling back to myself, back to normal.
And
good.
If anybody wants, this pill, we'll be selling it at spuntoday.com/pill. No, I'm joking.
They'll sue you.
So then
this medication is Gilenya.
Gilenya,
by the way.
there you go.
Gilenya, or like the real name is Fingolimod. When I was taking it, it's Fingolimod, which I like better than Gilenya.
I like Gilenya because I can pronounce it.
It sounds funnier.
That's like the pharmacological name or whatever.
Yeah. So it's Gilenya, and I take 0.5 milligrams of it. So it's a small dosage, I think. I don't even know if it's small or whatever, but
it sounds small.
So what this does is that it suppresses your white blood count.
White blood cell count.
Yeah. So
which is essentially your immune system.
Yeah. So
is
your
depleted.
immune system doesn't attack the Myelin Sheath or whatever.
Yeah, because your white blood cell count is your immune system pretty much.
Yeah,
so it lowers it. So you're more prone, I guess, to get sick, like common colds and like shit like that.
I always get sick, by the way. That's one of those things that you have to deal with. Every time there's somebody sick next to me, I get sick right away, the next day. And it does damage your liver,
which is why you have to
I have to keep monitoring like my blood and like every couple months to see that it's okay.
And your liver and stuff like that, just to make sure.
Speaking about that, I have to go get my blood drawn.
When?
Tomorrow, if I could.
Okay.
I had to do it today, but I forgot. Because I have an appointment next week.
Yeah. And yeah, but as far as symptoms, and you've been monitoring it obviously ever since for the last 3 years.
I've been taking it for 4 years, I think. And sometimes I forget that I have MS, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like night and day compared to like in the I remember our Harley Drive when you used to live in Harley Drive.
I was so depressed. I was like starting a relationship with you, going through all these things, moving, because I had just moved from DR.
Yeah, because you used to live here, then you lived in DR, and then you moved to Massachusetts. There's a lot of shit going on.
A lot of shit going on together, and well, I dealt with it.
And you got through
one thing at a time.
You're a brave girl.
I believe so.
I believe so too. I tell you that all the time.
I try.
And now, it's like a night and day difference compared to how you were then and all those symptoms and shit.
Now I still can't wear heels.
Which I don't mind because I'm short. So
I don't wear heels because I feel like I still don't have that balance to wear heels. I could probably do, but I will walk weird.
Yeah.
Which is not cute. So why would I do that to myself? And
what else? You still pee a lot, but
I still pee a lot, but it's more controllable now. Yeah. Now I can hold it. You for could actually hold bit. It. Yeah. Before I didn't. Like I couldn't hold that at all.
Before you used to like squirt in your pants.
Oh, I think that's gross. but I wasn't able to hold it. It was very scary.
Yeah.
Like I used to stay the whole day without drinking a drop.
Which is not good because you're supposed to be drinking water and trying to be healthy and shit. So it's like
because I didn't want to go. Like if I had to go someplace, I didn't want to be able to. Like you have to be able to hold it at least for a few seconds, and I couldn't. So I just didn't drink anything to avoid it.
Fuck. And what else? What other symptoms? Like now?
I couldn't believe one day. It was like raining. I was outside for my job, and then afterwards I got a new job and all that. So it did help. It gave me confidence.
Definitely.
Because I was able to walk normal.
And now you're taking the subway like a real New Yorker. Walking.
Now going up the stairs and down the stairs. Like,
no, that shit.
It's insane. I was outside and it started pouring like I've never seen so much rain in my life. And I started like running fast, like walking fast. I wasn't able to do that before.
No.
And then I realized that was a turning point. Like it helped me so much, that pill. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I told the nurse, I texted her. I was like, oh, do you know, I started like running, not running, but walking fast.
Like power walking.
To get to the car or whatever. And she was like, oh, that's great. That's such a good news. That means it is working or whatever. Yeah. But I was happy. I was a happy camper.
That's awesome, man. So that's pretty much all the questions I had. Do you have anything?
I talked all the way through.
That's good.
What could I say?
My hope with this, just like this conversation, is that just like that girl, JP Metz, touched you and was able to put you onto something, maybe you could do the same for somebody else that has MS, or somebody that hears this that might know somebody with MS, just to help them understand it more and be able to know how to like deal with it. Because sometimes you hear about people that might have something, then you don't know how to act around them, or you don't know how to like approach it.
Yeah, you can't get it. Like if I'm around you, if you do see somebody who you know that's not drunk, but
or like walking with a cane and they're young and like
they're walking with a walker. Because I did use a cane for a little while there. Yeah, in the beginning. Not a long time, but I had to use it because I can't be like attached to somebody 24/7. I mean, like, don't judge. Because it's not nobody's fault.
It's douchey to do that anyway.
It's nobody's fault that you're like that, you know? So I try to be... Like now that I'm okay, like I feel better, like I try to be aware as well, because sometimes you forget, you know. And
there's a lot of other shit that's similar to MS that people could have like similar symptoms and stuff like that. So it's gonna be cognizant. And
like fibromyalgia, I heard is really painful, and you got joint pain or whatever. And sometimes I imagine it's really painful too. But, you know, just try to be aware of your surroundings and not judge nobody.
Just be a decent fucking human being. Don't be an asshole.
Don't stare. Because you don't want, you know, when you feel that way, you don't want people to stare at you. And judge you.
I would imagine you feel like self-conscious and...
Yeah, you're already feeling shitty.
It makes you more uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're already feeling shitty about yourself and depressed. And that's one of those things that you get really depressed because you don't feel like yourself. You feel sick. You feel like...
I would imagine part of you feels like I shouldn't...
You feel broken. You feel guilty in a way because you... I don't know. You're like, oh, what did I do in life to deserve this or whatever?
Because something that's completely out of your control. It's not like you did it to yourself.
You have nothing to do with it.
And that's another thing with MS. It's like a mysterious disease in the sense that they don't know the cause of it. They don't have a cure for it. They have linked certain studies to genetics and environmental factors and stuff like that, but there's nothing concrete that says you get MS because of this or that. So
I'm sure that nobody in my family, like, I had to teach my dad about it, and most people.
And your sisters.
My sisters never heard about it at all, because at least I know about Montel Williams.
Yeah.
My sister didn't know nothing about it. Like, you didn't know anything about it.
I don't know
either.
shit.
I didn't know myself. I had to, like, learn little by little.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to explain it, but I know what it is, but I don't know how to explain it to, you know.
Well, anybody that ever actually tell them to listen to the podcast and they'll know.
Yeah. But, you know, just take one day at a time.
Definitely.
And it does get better. You just have to learn how to, like, adjust to what you're going through. Like, if you can't walk that much, I used to do so much research to go to the mall. I used to do research to see if there's any sitting places. I used to learn where all the bathrooms. I still do that. I know where all the bathrooms in every place is. Like, that's the first thing I ask. Like, where's the bathroom? Because I have to adjust to my surroundings.
Yeah.
And see what I could deal with and what I can't. If you know that you're gonna walk a lot, just try not to do it. Or use a walker. You know, it's hard, but it does help. I think that walker, that is an awesome invention.
It gives you support.
Because it gives you support. You could walk and you could sit down when you feel tired.
Yeah.
It is kind of
and it's a form of exercise.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because you feel old but, you know, if you need to go out, it's better to go out than stay home.
Yeah.
Like feeling sorry and feeling sad or whatever. So it's better to go out. And always your friends would, you know, your real friends, they will understand. And
yeah, absolutely.
they will deal with it with you.
And anyone that doesn't is definitely worth cutting off. And you'll be much better with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for doing this. I'm sure other people thank you as well.
I feel famous.
Trust me. Trust me or not.
Yeah. Well, I just hope, you know, this helps anybody. Even if it's one person.
Definitely.
To not feel down or whatever. It's always a plus.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I wish I could do like Ari and how he does on his podcast, and he's able to pay his guests with sponsorship money, but we don't have any sponsors at the Spun Today podcast.
Not even McDonald's?
That's
or
not
Domino's
McDonald's.
Or whatever. No. Come on, sponsors.
All right, babe.
Help a brother out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Love you.
having me. Love you too.
That's the episode, folks. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I hope you guys learned something, and hope that if you know anybody with MS, or if you yourself may have MS, you know, it's not like your life is over or anything like that by any stretch. And I hope that if you know someone with MS, maybe this episode helps you understand it more, and maybe you learned something, you know, maybe you got answers to questions that you otherwise wouldn't really feel like asking, feel uncomfortable asking, or what have you. And again, check out the episode notes for any links mentioned throughout the episode. Aside from that, I'm just going to do some house cleaning here. Wanted to mention that in the Spun Today podcast feed, you guys are going to find I guess like little tiny microcasts where I'm reading excerpts of my book, which I've mentioned before in the podcast. I put the couple of excerpts together along with some motivational music, and I like the way that they came out. I'm putting them out there obviously for free through the podcast. They're less than 2 minutes long. I think they came out pretty cool. I'm happy with them, and maybe you guys will like them also, so check those out. I'm going to sprinkle those in between podcast episodes. There's 2 out right now as of the date of this podcast, which comes out March 10th, 2016. and they're not going to have, the way to find them most easily is that they'll just be like the title of the actual excerpt from the book, and won't be aligned with a specific podcast episode number or anything like that. So check those out. Let me know what you think and share them. They're like a minute and a half long or less than 2 minutes long. Check them out. Aside from that, let's just do some house cleaning here, and then I'm going to let you guys go. First thing I want to mention is I'm going to go through everything, the whole kit and caboodle, in this outro. First thing is I set up a Patreon page. Patreon is a way to support the podcast on a per episode basis. If you just don't want to donate using the PayPal donation button, which is located at spuntoday.com/affiliate links, you can check out the Patreon page at Patreon, spelled patreon.com/Spun Today. And through there, you can donate on a per episode basis. If you like this episode versus a different episode, or vice versa, you can donate based on that specific episode if you so choose. The next thing I would like to mention is the questionnaire. And those of you that have taken part in it in the past know what it is. And those of you that haven't, feel free to fill it out. And even if you have filled it out in the past before and you want to fill another one out, feel free to do so. It's a 5-question questionnaire that is 5 open-ended questions based on something that you have some, I guess the best way to describe it, like a creative outlet for. And it's just a way to share tips and tricks of whatever it is that you do, whether it's sing or write or draw or whatever it is that your outlet is, and answer the 5 questions according to that passion that you happen to have. And the goal is to help spread that inspiration to other listeners of the podcast. And I read your answers to those 5 questions on future episodes of the podcast. And that's pretty much what it is. It's at spuntoday.com/questionnaire. Next, photos on my website can all be downloaded for free at spuntoday.com/photography. I like taking pictures of shit. Some of it looks cool to me, at least, and I put them on the website. If you like them, feel free to download them completely free. And you can also check them out on the Spun Today Instagram page, which is at Spun Today. And if you happen to want actual prints, like posters or canvases or anything like that, of any of the photography that you see there, you can also find them at Crated, CRATED.com/Spun Today, and order through there. I mentioned earlier the affiliate links page, which is spuntoday.com/affiliate links. And there, aside from the PayPal donation button, you can also find the Amazon and iTunes banners, which are portals to the Amazon and iTunes websites, respectively, where you can do all your shopping like normal, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, but both Amazon and iTunes give a referral fee just for driving traffic to their website. So check those out. It's a great way for you to support the podcast. Make Way for You, Tips for Getting Out of Your Own Way, is my book, which is available. You can check it out you can definitely find it on Amazon if you want a paperback, or to download a digital copy. You can do so through there. Check it out on my website as well at spuntoday.com/books. And on my website, there's also a little video of me explaining exactly what the book is, and a couple of audio excerpts as well as a description. So check all that good stuff out there. Rate and review the podcast on iTunes and or Stitcher and or Pocket Casts and or anywhere that you listen to this podcast. I would really appreciate it. It helps the podcast gain exposure. Other people get put onto it, and yeah, that'll be dope if you do that. Also, please rate and review the book on Amazon as well. And always, feel free to reach out to me through my contact page at spuntoday.com/contact and let me know what you think. I told you guys about the Instagram page at Spun Today. Twitter's the same thing, at Spun Today on Twitter. Like the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Spun Today. Subscribe and check out the YouTube page, which has all these podcast episodes in YouTube form. Also, subscribe to my newsletter at spuntoday.com/subscribe. I'm definitely not going to bombard you with spam and bullshit. I'm just going to let you guys know when new podcast episodes are out. I will hook you up with free shit from time to time, whether it be little audio excerpts or writings that I don't have posted anywhere else. You get them through there, as well as the Mondays Do Not Have to Suck newsletter, which you would get once a week. And those would be a very, very, very quick read of just an interesting podcast that I heard recently, a motivational quote, picture of the week, that type of stuff. And also check out the Tumblr blog thing that I don't promote that much, which is spuntodaypodcast.tumblr.com. It's pretty much everything that's posted on the site and podcast that you can listen to straight on there as well. And that's pretty much it. That's everything, guys. That's all the house cleaning we have for today. Thank you very much for checking out episode number 42. Thanks again to my beautiful fiancée for doing this and helping spread awareness for multiple sclerosis. And as always, folks, substitute the mysticism with hard work and start taking steps in the general direction of your dreams. Thanks for listening.